William in Ohio, you are on with Matt and Hemant Mehta.
Hey man, how you doing? Hey Hemant. First, I
Hi.
want to say Hemant, I love your. I'm sorry if I'm saying the name wrong. I
No.
love your videos on Genesis.
Oh, thank you.
Excellent. Yeah, they therapy to me.
Oh, good.
With you, man, I just want to say, like, I grew up in a family, Christians, evangelists, bishops, even my friends who don't go to church, they believe in God. And several years ago, I started finding your videos, and the questions I used to have that these pastors used to try to answer, they just didn't make sense. You had the same questions, and you would answer them, and it just gave me therapy. So,
Awesome. I'm glad it was helpful.
both of you guys.
How can we help today?
But here's where you can help me at. So I'm raising a child. I got everybody around me believing in God. I don't even know what to tell my daughter sometimes. And I still hold on to a little bit of belief in God because my aunt who recently passed away, she was like only a couple of years older than me. She used to talk about the end of the world and the mark of the beast, and one day it's going to be a worldwide catastrophe and the world was going to be in chaos. And after she passed away, COVID-19 happened, and just all the things she used to say, I kind of see them. I don't know if it's in my head or not, like they kind of coming to pass. And that one little string makes me still hold on that it maybe is possible with some type of God out there. So that's like a two-part question. Really.
Is your question how to deal with your daughter, or how to make sense of your aunt's predictions, if you will?
Both.
I mean, in terms of the prediction, COVID is obviously bad, but there are always tragedies that are happening everywhere at all times. I mean, if not COVID, you could point to climate change as an existential crisis. You could point to earthquakes, hurricanes, tsunamis, what have you. So COVID is definitely in our face and unique. But I don't know that doesn't necessarily mean that your aunt or the end times predictions called that into question or saw that coming from a mile away. They didn't. They did not predict COVID from a mile away. So I don't buy that she was onto something with her beliefs. So I wouldn't put much stock in that. In terms of raising your daughter, how old is your daughter?
8.
8. So she's at an age when she's going to start asking questions and start thinking about some of this stuff. And I'm only saying this as someone who has 2 kids, both of whom are younger than she is. But I genuinely think the best way to handle her when she's talking about this stuff is not to tell her God exists or God doesn't exist. It is to get her to question this stuff. Ask her what she thinks about this. If you are an atheist or pretty close to it, and she says that, I think heaven exists, I think God exists, the best question you could ask her is like the annoying kid question of why? Why do you believe that stuff? Or why do you think there's something up there? What about people who don't think there's something up there? Where do you think these good people go? Bad people? I mean, make her think about this stuff if she's raising questions about it, or if she says to you, I believe in this thing that you know is wrong. Just get her thinking about it. I think it would be wrong for me to teach my kids God doesn't exist. People who believe in God are wrong. It's almost unfair for me to feed them the answers like that, and it's not going to stick. I genuinely think the best thing you could do is get her to start thinking about this stuff and ask her probing questions. That's a good thing because you're not telling her.
What I've been doing, and tell me if you agree with this or not, I have been saying this is what I was taught, and I'll tell her what they taught me, and then I'll say, I'm not sure if it's true, but when you get older, you have to find out for yourself.
I think that's a wonderful answer. Yeah, I think that's a wonderful answer. And by the way, especially like I think you said, you're surrounded by people in your family, in your community who are super religious. I think it is going to be important for her to understand what it is all these other people believe, whether or not she ever goes along with it. But I think that's a great thing that you're asking her to say, look, at some point, you're going to have to figure this out for yourself. I'll love you no matter what you choose. But yeah, it is helpful to say, this is what these other people believe. Maybe this is why they believe it. I don't personally believe it. It's going to be your decision. But I think the better thing to do is just make sure she's always asking questions, that there isn't like she's going to be surrounded by people who tell her there's one right answer to this stuff. and it's not the right answer.
Mhm.
And I think just to remind her that no, there are lots of people who think very differently about these things, and no one gets to force their beliefs on you. You're going to have to figure this out. And by the way, there's no deadline for this. It's not a class project. You can think about this stuff for the rest of your life. And you know what? If there's a book you like or YouTube videos you like, great. You can always point her in that direction too. But again, just get her to question and don't tell her she's, not that you're doing this, but don't tell her she's right about it or wrong about it, especially if she says something like, I don't think God exists. I don't think you should tell her, good, you figured it out. Like, let her keep questioning, let her figure this stuff out on her own, and let her know that she can always come to you if she has those questions. Because, like, there are going to be maybe even pastors in her life where she won't feel comfortable if she has doubts going to them. But she should feel comfortable going to you if she has doubts, or if she starts to think God does exist. Hopefully she sees you as someone safe who she could talk to about this stuff.
Okay. I guess my problem was I didn't want people demonizing her, saying she's living in darkness or she's a sinner and all this stuff if she took on the beliefs that I had. So I kind of wanted to, like, I tell her like it's a Santa Claus, or she's about to come out of that stage, but believing in tooth fairies and all that kind of stuff. Should I go ahead and promote Christianity while she's young and then later tell her? That's where I was drawing the confusion part apart.
No, I mean, let her know where these people are coming from. It's unfair that they very well may tell her she's going to hell if she raises these doubts. But I think it's important to let her know, look, you got to keep questioning this. You got to figure it out. There are going to be people she encounters who feel like they are 100% dead set. They got the right answer on this stuff. And they're going to treat her as if she might have the wrong answer. And let her know that's not okay. She could push back against it if that's the case. But questioning this stuff is important. And to do what you might see on a show like this one, which is ask the questions right back to those people who seem so sure about it. The demonization is not okay. And I don't know what you can do to stop that, but to teach her that there isn't, I don't think it is worthwhile to teach her Christianity is true only to take that back later. I don't know that you can undo that later on. But to let her know this is
sense.
what a lot of people believe, and you should understand where they're coming from when they say things like this, but it doesn't mean they're right. But you could tell her, this is where I'm coming from on this. These are the questions I asked. But the better thing you could do is get her to know what type of questions to ask. How do you treat people with kindness? Because these people who are demonizing her are not.
Yeah. I have nothing to add to that, William. I'll just say I agree. And thank you for calling, and hope that helps. And call us back and let us know, how things are going.
Good luck to you.
All right. Thank you, guys. I appreciate the help. Thank you.
Absolutely.